All right, and welcome to Module 4, which is all about utilizing students and informing parents. So the agenda for this particular module is to talk mostly about a student ambassador program and you starting one if you don't have one already. And that's what the main assignment is going to be for this module. And then also talk about some other ways that you can utilize students and then the importance of informing parents and keeping them informed on what's going on. So what is a student ambassador program? Essentially, a student ambassador program, the concept is to develop leaders and delegate tasks. And the main kind of emphasis behind all this is that we know that you are too busy to do it all. And so you might as well utilize some of your students that are just your star students, the ones that are really gung-ho about your program, and have them be the ones that promote your program. And so there's two purposes. It's used to promote your program, a student ambassador program, and it's also used to assist younger or newer students. And so it can be somewhat of a mentoring type of program as well. And just so you know, Perkins money can be used to support ambassador training. So while your CTE director or administrator may not be aware of this or doesn't want to give you any money, I just want you to know that from a federal standpoint, you can use Perkins money to help support the training of your ambassadors. So let me give an example of a student ambassador program. In New York, they call their CTE centers BOCES, which it's an acronym that stands for something. And so here's one where they have the high achieving students are identified by each program area. And so this is more of a career and tech ed wide student ambassador program. What I'm asking you to do at some point, just to help with your marketing, if nothing else, is to have a program level student ambassador program. But what they do here is they identify students in each program area that demonstrate a related enthusiasm for their particular program. They have strong public speaking skills, and they have the potential to serve as a role model. And so they act as what they call PR ambassadors, which is relatively the same thing. So they speak at Rotary lunches, they speak at end-of-the-year ceremonies, they speak at public service announcements on the radio, and they also help promote their alumni association and keep in contact with their alumni. Here's another example from a high school, a CTE high school in California. They sent all of their 19 ambassadors that they have on a 2-day trip to the Capitol to share their passion and promote awareness for CTE programs to legislators. And we have something similar in Michigan that you could send your ambassadors to as well. Each had an opportunity to present information about their career pathway, their program, and their teachers. They also helped the staff with the iParent workshop, which is an all-day workshop for parents, just to give you some ideas. They also have an annual district-wide college and career fair that these ambassadors help out with. Another example is Peoria School District has CTE ambassadors that work with 6th to 8th graders, which is a perfect time to kind of get students excited about career and tech ed. Actually, just so you know, there's some tech centers here in Michigan that start at kindergarten as far as they've developed CTE coloring books, and they have like their chef come to a kindergarten class and read Green Eggs and Ham and then make green eggs and ham. Okay, but anyways, they also do at this particular one, they have pen pals. They do informational sessions. They also help host campus visits. So my point of showing these examples is to give you some ideas of the kind of things that you could do with your ambassadors. So here's the deal with your ambassadors, though. You must train those ambassadors. And so students meet with CTE teachers monthly to train in the background knowledge of all of the CTE industry sectors, right? And so they have to know a lot about, essentially almost as much as you do, about your particular discipline as far as labor market demand, as far as the type of training that has to happen after high school, the type of work environment they're going to find themselves in, the type of salaries that they typically make. This is the type of training that has to happen. You also got to train them in a few other things, such as, understanding the prerequisites for the course or some of the core requirements of the course. maybe they have to have a driver's license, let's say. They also need to know about the work-based learning opportunities. So, you need to make sure that even if they haven't experienced them yet, that they know that you have guest speakers and that you have internships and that there is a co-op method of instruction used. Public speaking, you need to work on that with them, on training them about the appropriate ways to speak in public and presentation skills and interpersonal dynamics and how to have negotiations and be able to lobby on behalf of your program. So while this doesn't have to be anything super intense, you do have to make sure that you're putting their best foot forward, not only to help them kind of save face, but also make your program look really, really strong. And so you only want to pick the folks that you think would be good at this. Not only that they're passionate, because we have those students that are passionate, but if you put them in front of a group of people, that passion is not going to be shared. So you want to make sure that you pick the right people for this type of program. You also may want them to attend different types of youth leadership conferences. Your student organization, your CTSO at state and national levels actually has kind of a leadership portion to it. Many of them do. So even it's not really a competitive event as much as you can send students along with your students that are doing competitive events to these state and national leadership conferences. And they will help help kind of make them leaders through different type of fun activities and talks that they have with them. Excuse me. There's you can go do the youth education series at Disney. There's the National Youth Leadership Conference. There's Lead America. There's all kinds of things out there that you could potentially do. So what could you do as far as promotion and marketing goes with a student ambassador? Well, you can have them they can host informational sessions. They can help with freshman orientation in high schools, which is what mine did. And mine also did informational sessions. You could promote at sporting events. They could become trained by the Better Business Bureau to educate peers about using credit. In fact, I encourage you to reach out to the Better Business Bureau, your local one. They've been very receptive for my consumer education course that I teach, as far as coming and speaking to them about the dangers of credit and about fraud and all this type of stuff, and identity theft. So if that relates at all to your area and you think that would be good information, I suggest you reach out to them. There's also goodwill uses, such as having them sell Valentine's Day balloons, bears and roses, or I have some pictures of some stuff like pictures with Santa Claus, or pumpkin carving contests, or Easter events, right? In fact, here's a picture from a student ambassador program that put on pictures with Santa Claus because they were, I guess that was their mascot. So they dressed their mascot up as Santa, and the kids could get pictures with them. Here's another one where they had a raffle for how many Easter eggs are in that jar, and then there was certain things you could win. Once again, they had information about their program out. And then here's one where they would have yearly, I think once a year or twice a year, they'd have what's called Fireside Chats. And so that's where the ambassadors would work with, obviously, the fire department and administrators and have a very controlled little bonfire and talk about career goals and education needed and salaries. We actually tried to do this with my student ambassador program, but the paperwork for a bonfire and approval process was absolutely tremendous, and so we gave up on it. However, I've heard that it works, and here's evidence, a picture of somebody doing it. So in summary, what you're trying to do is, with the Student Ambassador Program, is utilize your best and brightest for program promotion and student recruitment. You must train them in public speaking, in labor market information, and in information about your program. And you got to remember that you are a model. So if you take it seriously, they will too. And also, you need to have work for them and follow through with it, right? So this is something that you don't just start and then just put them off and let them do their thing. This is kind of a constant leadership development that you are doing throughout the school year. Now, when it comes to informing parents, the first thing you got to think about is, why should we keep parents informed? Well, you always want parents to be on your side and not their children's side many times. And so keeping them informed can really help. You can enlist students as volunteers whenever possible. You can keep students informed about classroom events and procedures. You can help parents understand the meaning behind educational phrases used in communications. You can keep parents involved in educational strategies used in the school and classroom. You can, train parents on how to effectively help their children develop good study and work habits. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can be helping the parents do, right? And one of the things is we ask, well, what can we share with them? Well, you can share the main objectives or goals of curriculum, important dates for assignments and field trips, birthdays, wish lists of items needed for lessons, ideas for parents to do at home to support learning, topics of study and objectives and goals for the curriculum. I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff that you could potentially be doing when it comes to informing parents. So I want you to think about that because you can also use your student ambassadors and your own students to inform parents. And so just keep in mind that they are a critical link to the continuation of students being in your classroom. Sometimes we purposely neglect parents because we don't want to get into arguments with them and we think that they're always against us. But in many times, they're just uninformed about what we're doing with their children. And so I think if you opened up more opportunity for them, you will see opportunity to learn about your program. You'll see much larger support. And that support could lead to actual partnerships and donations because many of these parents work out in the business and industries that we are preparing students for. So I basically already said all this, but they can become a resource. There's also a little bit of that protect yourself. If parents are on your side, they will listen to what you have to say if Johnny happens to mess up. And also communication creates community, so they become a part of the actual education process and they feel like they're a part of it when they are openly communicated to. And one of the other things, although we've talked about this last module, was that you need to help parents envision a child's future. And so this is just to kind of reiterate the point, share with them how being in your program is a great idea. So the potential salaries, the labor market demand, the post-secondary educational opportunities, that all that is there. And for many of our programs, it is there. So for this week, or for this module, what are you asked to do? Well, you're asked to develop a blueprint for a student ambassador program. And then I also want you to develop a plan for informing parents about course activities and student successes, and develop a plan for information a plan for informing parents of potential students about your program and career pathway. And so the directions are pretty simple. For the first direction is develop a set of guidelines for the operation of a student ambassador program. And so I have some things there that I want you to do. A description of the professional development that you plan to do, including a timeline. And then 3 current events within your community that you plan to have them represent your program at. And then 3 events that you plan to develop with these ambassadors for further marketing. And then the last objective here is I want you to identify 3 ways in which you plan to keep parents in the information loop. And so that's the assignment for this module. If you have any questions, contact me.